LeBron James has officially ended his era with the Los Angeles Lakers, and honestly, there's a lot of mixed emotions for this one with me because I just believe that LeBron, he did so much for the franchise, so much for the city, but I believe that they didn't really do him justice. After they won their 2020 championship with an all-star lineup team where you had Alex Caruso still on the squad, Kyle Kuzma was at least decent enough to give you good minutes, even though he wasn't even the best during that time. I hate even talking about him. But they had Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, all great players. Some not in their prime, but just they were all committed into giving the best that they possibly can be. And then after they won that championship, you think that, oh, well, at least they could run it back with the majority of the pieces that got them there, especially with some of the contracts they had them under. But instead, they kind of got rid of a whole bunch. And if I'm LeBron James, I'm just like, yo, what's going on? And ever since then, I mean, at first, LeBron went to the Los Angeles Lakers after they missed 6 consecutive playoff appearances for the last 6 years before LeBron James. And as much as we love Kobe Bryant and what he did for the Los Angeles Lakers, those last couple of years for Kobe Bryant was really treacherous. It was not a fun time. And the lineups that he had to play with is actually a very similar circumstance that LeBron James kind of had to play with now, barring the Luka Doncic additions to the team, where in my opinion, you kind of luck up to that one if you can fleece somebody for Luka Doncic. I guess that makes you a great GM, but Rob Pelinka has always been a guy for me that has made abundance of bad errors and bad moves, but then will make like one rock star move that kind of like makes you forget all the bad things that he did. And so then, you have people who look at him and say like, oh, he's a great GM, but really he kind of misses a lot. Like he doesn't really do the best work in terms of keeping players and getting great quality talent and surrounding them with great quality talent. You have LeBron James and now you have Luka Doncic, but they didn't really surround them with the best talent. Rui Hachimura was their best player on the team outside of them, and everybody else was pretty much chopped liver in my opinion. They had good players. Austin Reeves was pretty good, but he was just too injury prone. Everybody else was just kind of serviceable, but not good enough to win a championship, as we've seen the championship caliber teams that got them there this year. But I feel like LeBron James did so much for the city. He did so much for this franchise. After missing 6 consecutive playoffs, LeBron James came back to this team. Even though he didn't make the playoffs the first year because he got hurt, he still showed that the Lakers are not somebody to just ignore. And then he became a champion with the Lakers in honestly one of the hardest roads to do so. I mean, a lot of people talk about the bubble and saying that it's a Mickey Mouse ring and whatnot, but every single player within the bubble has all said that was one of the most difficult championships and difficult playoffs, just difficulty of basketball just in general that they've ever played in their lives, because of how everything was just pretty much the floor. Everything was just basketball. There's no crowd noise for real. There's no advantages, disadvantages. It just comes down to the X's and O's and the pressures within that. And so it feels kind of weird, but everybody played above their level. I mean, we all know about the bubble, TJ Warren, when he was going against Jimmy Butler. It was ecstatic. We were seeing great hoops left and right. And so LeBron won in that, and they won pretty handedly, in my opinion. They didn't really lose that many games. They showed every single team that they went against that they were the better team. But since then, similar to Kobe Bryant, once the championships were done, they just failed to kind of surround LeBron James with good talent. And I think that LeBron, he kept it in stride. I think that, maybe he could have used more of his leverage, and maybe people just don't want to play with LeBron anymore because of how much he demands of the ball. But I believe, especially in this last year, Luka Doncic, playing with him, LeBron kind of thrived as the off-the-ball scorer. And it's actually kind of incredible because of the rhetoric surrounding his whole career that he needs the ball to be effective. But LeBron, during this time with the Lakers, became the all-time leading scorer, surpassed 50,000 combined points from regular season and playoffs, became the all-time leader in minutes, games played, has a crazy record in having 10-plus points in like 1,200 games, 1,200 consecutive games. Like, that is absolutely amazing. But I feel like if you're a Lakers fan, especially if you're a LeBron's fan, you feel kind of like relieved today that the Lakers era is over for LeBron, because ideally you kind of feel like it probably should have happened a while ago. It feels like we was just trying so hard to keep a good thing there while knowing that you just simply won't be good enough to win a championship. And Luka Doncic, he's a pretty good player, he's a great player, and we'll see how that's going to work out for him. But when you have the injury issues that Luka Doncic has, and the fact that he really hasn't been a health player for all 82 games or majority of the season, it's kind of hard to build a championship winning formula. And this year, you could have made a really valid argument that they could have gone a little bit farther if Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic were healthy. And that is completely understandable, and I could see an argument for that. But that all comes back to LeBron James just feeling like he just didn't have the best team around him. Like, the situation was always difficult. It was always hard. But LeBron always kept them afloat around fourth or third in terms of their seed and ranking, but never enough to kind of build them over the hump. And if you're a Lakers fan, you kind of like been in that limbo where you got just enough assignment to be like, okay, we could probably do this thing. But the reality is that every time it crept up, you're just like, we're just not good enough. And it happened every single year. And so as a LeBron fan and myself too, you're just kind of like, man, it's probably time for him to retire because you're just not going to win with this Lakers team as presently constructed. And really for many of the Lakers teams that he had after 2020, they were just never good enough. Every other team has been, of course, ways and above beyond better than the Los Angeles Lakers. And so you have to think about LeBron, okay, what can we do next? What next is there? And I feel like for the longest, he kind of just stayed with this team to the point where the salary became a detriment. I know that he had reworked it a little bit later down the line to make more cap space for other players, but they just simply weren't able to get that team around LeBron to a point where he can win multiple championships. But in my opinion, I believe his legacy for the Lakers is cemented as one of the greats. Of course, he wasn't able to win multiple championships. Being able to win one, in my opinion, is just good enough. But with the amount of cards stacked against him and the fact that he still had to perform in these, what feels like not even 5 years, but around 7 years he's been with the Los Angeles Lakers, it seems like he's done way much more than what would be asked of him, honestly. I mean, getting the all-time scoring record, like we all think that is set in stone, that is what he's going to do. But at the end of the day, he has to come out and perform every single night to make sure that happens. That is not a guarantee. Being able to play the most games, play the most minutes, have the crazy 1,200 consecutive games with 10 points, and being able to crown yourself as one of the best of all time in the third stage of your career, that's really honestly amazing to me, especially if you're a LeBron James fan. What more can you ask for? And so now in this next stage of him going to his next team, you're kind of like relieved in the fact that maybe we have one season left, maybe we even have two if we're lucky. But LeBron is riding off high in the sunset. Now the real issue, in my opinion, comes down to the Lakers post-LeBron. And I mentioned this before, that the Lakers is not in a good scenario right now. Well, somewhat in a good scenario because they don't have LeBron James's contract anymore, so they can probably get more premier talent. But the issue comes down to health and comes down to Rob Pelinka. Is Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic going to be the two that can get you to the promised land? Are they going to be healthy enough to play a full season or even close to a full season? And will they be there health-wise to get you through the playoffs? Will they be good enough on defense, good enough on offense? Austin Reeves is more of a high-volume type of guy. Luka Doncic is a little bit more high-volume type of guy. Even though Luka gives you a lot more in terms of, playmaking ability, he still is a high-volume shooting type of guy. He can make those shots, don't get me wrong. He's prolific. But what do they have around them? Rui Hachimura, is he going to stay? There's a lot of people who are not going to be there, in my opinion, because you can only do so much when you have those two people having the ball all the time. What is the team going to look like in the future? And now I believe that, LeBron James, he kind of shielded Rob Pelinka for a lot of the missteps that he's had in the past. But with Luka Doncic not being the same kind of star as LeBron, people are going to look at Rob Pelinka and be like, okay, you need to actually build a roster because Luka Doncic did not come here willingly. Luka Doncic did not want to be a Los Angeles Laker. He wanted to stay in Dallas for the rest of his life. And so you have to convince not only the fans, but Luka Doncic, most importantly, that if I'm going to stay here, then you have to give me something to work with. And he's already mentioned in the press that he wants a big. He wants a premier big to play with, because that's something that he never really had. He had Derek Lively back in the day, but Derek Lively isn't a premier big. He was just a guy that, similar to James Harden, if they breathe, if Luka and James Harden breathe in your vicinity, there's a big getting crazy buckets. Shout out to Clint Capella. But getting a premier big, it would be funny enough, because if Anthony Davis was really healthy, that would actually be a great fit for Anthony Davis, being the pick and roller, being a guy that could stretch the floor as well. And so, but who is out there for them? You want to get Durant? You want to get James Durant? I mean, is he that guy for Luka? We don't know. Do they have the cap space, or do they even have the persuasive ability to get more players on their team? I don't know. And I think that this is going to be the year that really tests them. But if you are the Los Angeles Lakers, and especially if you are Luka Doncic, is this enough? Or is this a time where you might say, you better destroy it early, blow it up early so you can get picks and rebuild? But the future is never a given. It's never a certainty. So what is going to happen with Luka Doncic? What is the future for the Los Angeles Lakers? Because right now, LeBron James, he gave you guys all that he could give. And right now, with the last year, maybe two of his basketball career, this is him riding off to the sunset. This is all that he has left.